would say it's Kevin in the morning, but now I get to say Kevin and TJ in the morning. Guess who's back?
Good morning, Kevin.
This morning, TJ Johnson walked back into the studios of More 104.9, greeted by colleagues who spent days worried about his safety while in Mexico. Back on the air with his co-host, the duo picked up right where they left off, talking about the chaos Johnson encountered in Puerto Vallarta following cartel violence and his struggle to book a flight home once the airport reopened.
Johnson returned to Spencer last night after 4 days stranded in Mexico. KTIV's Ellen Ide was there when he landed at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport following a 4-hour flight back to the United States.
TJ Johnson left for Puerto Vallarta on a family vacation. He came home with a story he says he'll never forget.
I have never been more happy to be home.
It started quietly. Sunday morning, there was smoke on the horizon. By 10 o'clock, it was time to check out and head to the airport. The first sign that something was wrong came before his family ever got in a cab.
We had a 10 o'clock checkout time that Sunday. And when we went down to the lobby, the security guard and taxi driver were in a pretty serious conversation. They go, "You got to go now."
On the roads to the airport, the streets that are normally packed with tourists and locals were empty. Their taxi driver used few words, but told his passengers everything.
I was watching him, and there were a few times where he would give really heavy sighs, and he would grab his crucifix that he was wearing and kiss it, and that was not the most comforting.
A Mexican military operation had killed a cartel leader, and unrest erupted across the city. Vehicles were set on fire in the streets. Johnson, his uncle Bob O'Hare, and hundreds of other tourists were caught in the middle.
When we first saw the first burning bus, that was a moment at which I felt like maybe we should turn around.
They made it to the airport, and for a moment, relief. But it wouldn't last long.
It was so quick that all of a sudden the alarms went off. So we didn't have any time to really come down off of the adrenaline from the drive.
And it's like a buzz, buzz, buzz. And people start running every which way.
Airport staff, spooked by the arrival of the Mexican National Guard, mistaking them for the cartel, panicked and evacuated the terminal. Hundreds of travelers were pushed onto the tarmac.
The main thing that really startled us was the staff themselves were basically frantically panicking, holding each other, and then we're all running out to the tarmac.
There was a moment at which I thought, we shouldn't be out here on this tarmac. We're sitting ducks.
Days of grounded flights and airline confusion followed. He wouldn't board a plane home until Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night, he finally walked through these doors.
We made it home.
Johnson says that despite everything he's been through, he's not deterred from considering international travel in the future. In fact, him and his family have already started discussing plans for another trip to Puerto Vallarta.
We're going to go back next year. We are going to not let this one day and this one blip of something unique that happened ruin the amazing trip that we had.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ellen Ide, KTIV News 4.
And if you'd like to read more about Johnson's experience in Mexico and his travels to get home, we have all those stories online right now at KTIV.com.